this is going to be quick, which is probably good at the end of the evening anyway. I'm not very good about this because I'm not accustomed to coming up to accept individual awards. It's always been about team. I am completely humbled by this honor, especially as Jennifer Sabatel, who told me not to call her name out, reminded me of the illustrious folks who've gone before me. It's incredible. Michael Goldman is most upset because I had difficulty trying to put something together. I can put together tough commentaries, but when talking about oneself, I'm not good. So let me try to take a number of disparate points to see if I can put them together and they be somewhat cogent in my remarks. I'm very thankful that Charlie Bloom, who put this piece together, used the love of my life, my wife, to narrate it, and she did an awesome job. She is as saintly a woman as I've ever known. My wife has helped to shape me significantly to the man that I am. She's very strong in the Word of God. She's very rooted in the Bible. And by the way, so am I. To God be the glory. I'm thinking about David Burson because on the air, I strictly take care of business as I've been hired to do. Sean McManus did not hire me to be a preacher on air. I am. That is who I am. And I thank God for that. I'm sure that Sean will call me in his office tomorrow morning, but I'll gladly go do that. As a matter of fact, my wife taught me how to get along well as I was growing in my faith, because whenever I wanted to, at those times, Leslie, they were arguments, but she taught me to consider them to be intense debates. But I learned that you can't really argue by yourself when she turns and walks away. So the fact of the matter is, she has worked on me to the point where I've become a well-trained husband. And I've told her that if she ever decides to leave me, I'm packing up and I'm following her, so there's no question. I also want to just mention with these disparate parts about the role that my mother and father played in my life. They were high school graduates, but had PhDs in drive and determination to instill excellence in us, a spirit of excellence, and to let us know that no one could outdo us in anything. She always made me aware that academic excellence would be the key foundation stone to success in the game of life, which is why, despite being a family of extremely modest means and certainly could use an athletic scholarship, she told me that academic excellence was number one. So when I got the opportunity to go to Harvard, meaning that they would have to pay and take out loans, I did that because I bought her advice. As a matter of fact, my mom, standing only about 5'5", and my father, by the way, God bless them both, they're in heaven now. My father was like Joseph in the Bible. He was a quiet one. He worked 3 jobs so that my mother could stay home to raise the 5 of us kids. I'm the oldest of 5. And my mom made it clear with very delicate words with us when she said she expected us to comport ourselves in a fashion that was a positive reflection on the family. And she told me, and she said, if you do step out of line, you can rest assured that your lips will arrive at the hospital 30 minutes before your gluteus maximus. And I've never forgotten that. Not as glib. Oh, by the way, let me just mention to my Italian brother, Fred Godelli, I'm very disappointed that he wasn't reflecting a very inclusive attitude when he said that this evening was all about the Italian inductions, leaving out the only Ethiopian Jew who's being inducted tonight. My brothers and sisters, one is in heaven, John, my brother Everett, my brother Terrence, and my sister Alicia, the smartest in the family, all had a very significant impact on me for sure. My daughter Katrina is here with her husband John. They have blessed us with 4 grandkids. I thought they were going to stop after 3. My daughter had told me, given that she understood that I did do hockey, yeah, that's another story, hosting hockey, that she had put a goalie in the net to ensure that the family would stay at 3. And she called me up about a couple months later to say that she was pregnant and was crying. And I was asking her why she was crying. She said, I had a goalie in the net and the puck got through. And what should I do? I mean, what do you mean, what should you do? You thank God for that baby and you make sure it's a healthy baby. I promptly called my son-in-law and said, one of you all is shutting the factory down, okay? So let's get that The world of sports has been extremely good to me because I've learned a lot of lessons. I think most of you would agree, and obviously my colleagues here are very gifted and glib like John Filippelli, that sports has been awesome, and I'm loving this platform because it enables us to tell stories that I think are really beneficial to society at large. It's been a wonderful platform that has helped to move the social needle forward, as we found with the Phyllis George family, the Browns, and so many others as well, too. And Sean McManus has allowed me to do that. And let me just say, prior to being blessed to work for Sean McManus, it was Ted Shaker, and I'll try to get through as quickly and not get emotional because Ted was extremely important in my life. When I left corporate America working for Xerox and Eastman Kodak in sales and sales management, Ted Shaker gave me an opportunity after seeing me do a broadcast of a Big East game. And he gave me the opportunity to not just be marginalized, but to have the breadth and scope of what the sportscasting arena was all about. I did the Tour de France, I did water polo, I did aerial skiing, I even did gymnastics. Thank God it was tape delayed. Working with Mary Lou Retton, and I had the nerve to ask her, Leslie, when the women were doing the balance beam, and I asked her on air, I said, well, why isn't it that the men don't do exercises on the balance beam? And she looked at me, knowing we were live at that time, and she didn't say a thing. And I figured it out. I said, oh, okay, so. Ted Shaker also gave me my first opportunity, despite the fluctuations in weight that you can see throughout my career. Ted gave me an opportunity to do NFL broadcasts. And the first game that I did, and many of you may recall this, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Atlanta Falcons game. And Ted asked me just to keep the call clean, don't get fancy, football, you got a golden opportunity here. And of course I go through the first half and got a little complacent. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know what, football's not that difficult. I get to the third quarter, and I'm talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their running back James Wilder, he's at the 40, he's at the 45, he's got daylight, he's at the 50, he's at the 55, he's finally tackled at the 60-yard line. And the very calm Bob Monsbach, my producer, got in my ear, JB, there's no such thing as a 60-yard line, go to commercial. And he told me to take a look at the TV monitor because inevitably or invariably the clock in the stadium might be wrong. I was all shook up. I looked up at the stadium clock and I said, we're going to step aside with a quick timeout with about 8 minutes and 99 seconds left in the third period of play. When we came back, thank God, my colleague who was a Harvard grad, Dan Jiggets, he said, for those of you who thought JB misquoted when he said 8 minutes and 99 seconds left, he wanted to know if you could do the conversion to realize it was 9 minutes and 39 seconds left in the game. Hey, so let me just say, obviously I'm spending time there because I'm uncomfortable talking about myself, but I've learned that in the world of sports, it truly is about a team effort. And make no mistake about it, I have been blessed. Having started at CBS with Ted Shaker, having gone over to Fox and worked with some excellent people there, but could not have been happier when Sandy Montag and I sat down, my agent, and had a long career discussion. And he mentioned that Sean McManus might be interested in you coming back home if you are, recognizing that my contract was up. And we went, I prayed fervently on it. It took a long time. But after my sister helped me to walk through the SWAT to see what CBS was all about, the one thing that was a bright shining light was the culture there because of the leadership of Sean McManus. I remember the coach of the Buffalo Bills back in the day, Marv Levy, who made the comment that personality is what you're like when that light is on. Character and integrity, that's who you are when no one's watching, and they ought to be the same at all times. Sean McManus is, and I am thrilled. And this is not, kowtowing to the boss because it's been real. I believe that I do my best every time I go out because biblically the word says that to do all that you do heartily to the Lord and not unto man. And I knew that if I did that Sean couldn't help but be pleased. And the leadership that he has with David Burson and Harold Bryant and Jennifer Sabatel, who asked me not to say her name, twice. And a few others, yes ma'am, twice, that I am working in a wonderful environment where I'm getting the opportunity to grow and blossom. I'll close by saying this. The world of sports has been good, but it is again a team effort. I think about my colleagues with whom I work. Boomer Esiason, I call him the king of media here in New York, owning the morning slot for 15 years straight. He's a wonderful colleague, teammate. Think about Nate Burleson, who when Sean McManus and Harold Bryant asked me about a replacement in the studio, they asked me about Nate. I was moderating and hosting the NFL's broadcast boot camp for about 13 years. Nate was clearly the best, and his trajectory doesn't have a curve to it. It is straight up, and I told Sean that he is out of the box ready, and boy, has he shown that. It's clear he's got a little Jamaican blood in him because he's working about 9 jobs right now, and I appreciate him being here this late. Phil Simms, who is as one, and Bill Cowher will vouch for this, he loves the sport, he respects the sport, and he honors the sport, and no one works harder than Phil Simms. He is gifted and can talk the game inside out, 2-time Super Bowl winner, Super Bowl MVP. Bill Cowher is the leader of our team. The last time I was here, I remember Mr. Dan Rooney made his last public appearance here to receive an award because of Bill Cowher. And his closing comments were, I hope that Billy, as he called him, will get into the hall that he deserves in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it was less than a year, if I'm not mistaken, afterwards that Bill Cowher was inducted into the Hall of Fame, a man who dominated the AFC North, 8-time division champ there in his 15 years, 2 conference championships, 2 Super Bowls, and won the Super Bowl. He's a brilliant tactician, strategist, and psychiatrist as well, too. So we're pleased to have him there. I think I will try to close by saying the reason that I love this sport was reinforced today when we were recording Inside the NFL and a very emotional segment on Paramount Plus. And we did an interview with Eric Decker, teammates of Demaryius Thomas, with Michael Irvin and Brandon Marshall. And as I sat there and just listened and felt the emotion of these guys and how they talked about it, whether it's from the first family of football, Peyton Manning, the Manning family, to a reserve, they all have talked about Demaryius Thomas and the person that he was, that he is. And there wasn't a dry eye on either Michael Irvin or Brandon Marshall or Eric Decker. It reminded me that our job as journalists is to tell the story, not to manufacture a narrative that we put out there, but to tell the story as is. And I pray that I've stayed true to that as well and have been given the opportunity to continue that, and I'm exceedingly thankful for it. I have no idea whether or not there was a common theme, whether it was coherent or cogent, but that's the best that I can do. Thank you very much.
Cheers